Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Mark, a trainer here at WEX Field Service Management, and today we are covering daily operations for admin users. This webinar will cover reviewing job flags in your system, proposal reporting, managing receivables, sending payment reminders, accounts receivable aging, time clock editing and reporting, and scheduling internal events. We'll do a live Q&A at the end where you can get your questions answered live on stream. And without further ado, let's dive into WEX FSM. When you first log into your system, you will be on the schedule page. So we're talking about admin role today. So you are probably the one who is kind of helping manage things. You may even be the front runner for helping get WEX FSM set up for your team. And when you are doing jobs, you're running jobs, you're creating appointments, you're taking payments, you are going to have some jobs that will require a follow-up. And we have a way to add flags to each job. And those flags will be easily seen in the very top right where it says flags. Now, this button right here, when you click on this, this is going to bring you to the job list. You can also get here from jobs, job list. But as an admin, you are probably delegating different tasks that need to happen, and the job list allows you to view and manage job flags. So right now I have show flagged jobs only selected, which when this is not selected, the job list will show you every job in your entire system. But we want to isolate flags so we can see what follow-ups need to happen per job. When I am on a job, whether that's from the desktop version or out in the field with the mobile app, you can add a flag. It's a button that just says flag for follow-up. When that flag is added, it will then add a flag to the job and it will show up in the list here under show flag jobs only. A way to use this, you can click on the flag and it will ask you what is the follow-up type. Follow-up types will vary based on your industry, but maybe you have to order a part. I know that I need to order the part, but I want to be able to remember that details around ordering that part. I can even assign this to another user. So let's say I have someone in my company who does all of our part ordering. I could assign this to them. And when they come here, they can select themselves as the assignee and just have a nice little hit list of parts that need to be ordered. So from an admin perspective, this is your way to delegate tasks out to different users by assigning them. Now you don't have to do this. If you don't choose an assignee, it will still show. It just won't have a specific user attached to it. And then you will just write a note for what needs to happen. If this is a part order, maybe you will say, order this part and click save. You can manage and edit the flags from the job page, but you can also do flag updates in bulk from this page. And also to show you, you can create your own follow-up types. Your system will come with some defaults here, but click add new follow-up type and you can put in whatever you want here. So that is the job list. You can get here by clicking the flags icon or jobs job list. Now, another way that you can view your job flags and just keep an eye on the overall status of each job, you will go to the job summary report. To get there, we will click on Reporting, Original, and then under the Jobs section, we have Job Summary. That brings you to the Job Summary Report. And this will also show all of your jobs in your system, but this allows you to see a little more at a glance. We can see the number of appointments that were scheduled versus completed. As an admin, you may want to just spot check and make sure that if a appointment was scheduled, that it was completed. If you see something was scheduled and it's not complete and it happened a week ago, what happened there? You may want to investigate, click into the job, and see what happened. Signed proposals. If a proposal is signed, you're going to want to convert that to an invoice after you do the job. And if you notice that there's a signed proposal, but there's no invoice yet, and it's 3 weeks old, what happened there? Are we missing an invoice? And then if you go into the job, you can even see the technician that went out and did the service. From here, you can also view your flag for follow-up. This has the same toggle as the job list, which allows you to see flagged jobs only. But this is really meant for a reference. You can hover over the flag to see what it says, which I think it's upset with me right now for some reason. Oh, okay. There we go. So there's the note from the flag, but you can't click on it to edit it. So to actually manage your flags, I recommend using the job list, but you can just quickly reference flags from this page as well. You also have, in terms of flags, you do have some settings that you can set defaults for your flag for follow-up feature. To set this up, you will go to Settings, Jobs, Job Preferences. The Job Preferences page will allow you down below to set your flag for follow-up permissions here. If you want to require an assignee, you won't be able to save the flag unless it's been assigned to a user. So if you really like assigning out flags to people, you'll want to turn that on because then you'll just always make sure that any flag that's created, it has a user assigned, and then they'll be able to go to the job list, select their name as an assignee, and see all of the work that is due for them. And you can also require a due date as well. By default, these will be turned off, so it's not required to have an assignee or a due date, but you can update that here to make those required fields. All right, next, let's take a look at proposal reporting. So we'll go back to reporting. And then we want to go under the jobs section, go to proposals. The proposals report at first glance will show you all of your proposals in your system. This can be just a quick way to come here and search for proposals by date range, by proposal status. Maybe you want to see, let's look at all of our declined proposals from last month so we can look at the notes, determine why we lost those jobs, and see if we can do better in the future to win more jobs. You can also search by job type. Maybe I want to see all of my proposals for installs this month or last month, let's say. And then you can also look at proposals by technician. Maybe I have a new technician that's creating proposals in the field for the first time, and I just want to spot check those and make sure that they look good and are correct to the way we run business. So a couple use cases there, but I would say one of the most important things of this page is calculating your close rate. If you are a company that does proposals and provides estimates for your customers, or maybe you're even bidding for jobs with competitor companies, knowing your close rate is really great as a business. You will have the sales opportunities, which means you create a proposal, you mark it as an opportunity. If that proposal is signed and accepted, you do the work, and then your system will consider that a a win, a sale won. If they decline and you do not get the job, that will be considered an opportunity lost. It will calculate based on the amount of proposals you have marked as opportunity and rate that against your wins and losses to create your close rate. Now, how do you mark something as an opportunity? You can do this while you are scheduling, or you can do it directly from a job page. And let's see an example of this. So let's go back to our schedule page. Just going to close out of some of these tabs here. When I'm creating a new appointment, let's click new. Let's search for our customer. When you're creating the appointment, you can click show lead, and then that will allow you to toggle on the opportunity. If we hover over the eye here, it does give you a little tip. If this is set to on, the job will be considered a sales opportunity and used in the close rate calculation. So by default, as you are creating jobs, maybe not every job is going to have a proposal or be considered a opportunity. So that is off by default. But let's say I know I'm about to go out and propose a complete roof replacement for Justin. I'm making a proposal for him. And if well, then I will mark it as an opportunity. If Justin decides, yep, let's go, let's move forward, let's get that new roof, this will be considered an opportunity one. And if he says, you know what, I don't have the money right now, maybe we'll do it in the future, and you end up not doing the job, that will be considered an opportunity loss. So you are viewing that from the proposals report, but setting that up is done when setting the appointment. And let's go to a job really quick. I'm just going to go into this random job here. All jobs have this button, which is right here, opportunity. So maybe you're on the job page, you're about to create the proposal, and you go, oh, you know what? I want to add this in my close rate calculation. So you would just turn on opportunity from here. Next, let's take a look at the receivables report. So from an admin perspective, maybe you are the one who is in charge of making sure all outstanding balances are paid. Maybe you're the collections person. You got to call people and get them to pay their bill. This will be your best friend, this report. To get here, we will go to reporting, original. If you don't have the advanced reporting add-on, you won't have this button. So you won't even have to click over to original. But if you do have advanced reporting, when you click reporting, it will bring you to the advanced reporting dashboard, and you will need to click over to original to get here. And we're looking for the receivables report. So that is reporting, receivables. And from here, you can select by date range that, oh, this is going to have all of your invoices in your system. So if I create an invoice, it will show up in this report, and it has some nice filtered totals, and we're just focusing on receivables. So you can search by job type, payment status, invoice status, technician, and you have some search options as well to search the list. And so, how can you leverage this report to help your collections to get people to pay their bill faster? If I were you, I would go to the payment status and I want to know who has an outstanding balance. So we're going to go to overdue. And overdue means that it has a balance, the invoice has a balance that's unpaid and it is past the due date. And so overdue is selected. And now we can send out payment reminders or use the customer information here to contact the customer and give them a call. But let's say you just want to send out a mass reminder to everyone. You will click select all, send invoices, and send. That will send a notification out from your system. You will see the last time that that was sent. So we can see these were sent out on the 4th. And if you click on this, it will even tell you who you sent it to, the delivery method, where it went to, and whether it was sent and delivered. If you need to resend, you can just click send invoice. It's really nice when you send out a bulk reminder to a lot of people and a bunch of them pay their bill all at one time. Also, just a pro tip for using reports in WEX FSM, any info that you have, including filtered totals, you can download that information. Just click the download button and you can download as an Excel file or a PDF file. But receivables report, great place to see all of your receivables, aka invoices in your system, check balances, any credits that have been applied. You get good details about that data in general, and use this to send payment reminders. In addition to this, just so you know, when you send out communications from your system, you can actually control what each message says. So when I send this out, you're not going to see that. It's going to go out to your customers, and how would I know what is my customer receiving? What messaging am I saying? And you can update the messaging from settings, calls and notifications, and there's 2 pages for this. Email notifications will allow you to update your email messaging, and text notifications is separate, but it's the same general idea. You would just change the messaging for your text messages. Let's go to email notifications as an example. And there's a lot you can update here. What we were looking at was for the receivables, but this is a place where you can update your appointment scheduled, appointment reminders, appointment cancellation, and so on. And the way that these work, you have a text box here that you can update and then see what your customer would see from here. Once you make updates to this, click save. And then as that message goes out to your customer, it will be the updated version that you have. I guess the last tip on this is you do have some custom fields that you can enter. And I like to think of these as smart fields because they will pull data from your system to customize the message for your customer. An example of this that says hello customer first name. When the customer gets it, it'll say hello John. If I wanted to delete that and add customer full name, now it'll say hello John Smith when that is sent out. So it's just an example of using those available fields. Next, let's take a look at another way to manage your receivables, and that is with the accounts receivables aging report. To get here, you will go to reporting. And then we want under the accounting section, we want to go to accounts receivable aging. Now, this report is similar in that you will see your receivables here, just like the receivables report, but this lets you see how long the balances have been here. So this report lists all aging outstanding balances by the customer and provides visibility of all customers and existing balances that are overdue. The report will display these open balances at the top here, and you can see overdue balances as they age. So is it 1 to 30 days, 31 to 60, 61 to 90, and 91 plus? This just gives you a nice overall view of how long these balances have gone unpaid. And it's almost like a heat map of these 61 to 90. I really want to focus on these customers because they have not paid us for a long time and we really need to collect on that. So it just gives a little more visibility into not only the balances that are there, but how long they have been there. Next, let's take a look at time clock editing and reporting. So let's talk about time clock. Your system has two time clocks. There is a daily time clock, which allows you to track time throughout the entire day. A use case for that, you show up to work, you clock in. Sorry, to get to the page that I'm on right now, in the very top right, you will click on the numbers here. If you haven't clocked in yet, it will be 0. And once you click on that, it will bring you to this page. Show up for work, clock in. And now you leave this page, you do your stuff. It's time to leave for lunch, you'll clock out. Come back from lunch, clock in. And then now it's the end of your day, you're going to leave, clock out for the day. All of those timestamps will be recorded. Every user is able to use the daily time clock, and you can use this for payroll if you need to. Now, as a disclaimer, WEX FSM is not a payroll software, so we do not pay out to employees. But maybe you're using a software like QuickBooks to do this, but you still need to know how much time people have worked. And this is a great way to track that by using this tool here. And then we have reports that you can look into for daily time clock, which we'll look at in just a little bit. But I also want to showcase you can do, and actually the best way to show you this is on a job. So we have a job time clock as well, which is separate. So I'm going to go to a customer page. I just want to give you reference on how this works, this job time clock. So let's go into this install job. My customer is Justin, and we can see here, oh, this is a perfect example. So for this job, right, we talked about the daily time, which is tracking your whole day. But the job time clock is going to be what your technician actually clocks in and out their actual time when they're out in the field doing the job. And so we can see that this was scheduled from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and nothing was actually recorded for this. Oh, but these are future appointments. So this is probably a bad example. I'm just going to update this real quick to pretend that this was in the past. Let's say that this was something that needed to happen on Monday. Dustin went out. He should have clocked into the job, clocked out of the job, and that would have put those timestamps here. You can view job time clock entries from any job page right here on the actual time. But let's say Dustin forgot. He went and did the job, but he did not clock in. You can actually edit the job time clock entries from right here. Click on, and then add new time entry. So I'm talking to Dustin on the phone. Hey, looks like you forgot to clock out. Let's make sure we're doing that. But when did you actually get there? And let's say that he worked from 8 a.m. to, let's say he went a little over 5:08 p.m. And that was the time that he was at the job. And we will click save. Now I have updated this. If we get out of here, we will see the actual time has been updated. Scheduled time is what you scheduled when you made the appointment. Actual time is what your technician clocks when they're there. If you are doing this scenario that we just did, if you are updating the time, I would also update the status because most likely, well, if they're not using the status, they are not able to clock in. Those go hand in hand. So let's do complete. And now I have essentially backdated the correct time for this technician here. Next, let's look at some reports for time clocks. So we know that from the desktop side, we can start, stop, and manage the daily time clock from the numbers up here. We can update the job time clock from each job. But we can also look at these time clock entries in bulk from our reports. The first report we're going to go to is more applications, time clock. And this is a very simple daily time clock report. You will see your users that track time. It groups by date. If there are multiple blocks of time throughout the day, it will show you each block and how much time was clocked for those blocks individually with a total at the bottom. If you are doing payroll, maybe you want to set the date range to the week. So let's say this week. And now here are the time clock entries for the daily time. And I can just see and use this for payroll purposes from here. If you need to update or edit a daily time clock entry, click the three dots on the right, click edit, and now you can edit those clock in and out times per time block. Next, let's take a look at the job time clock report. So let's go back to reporting. And we're going to take a look at scheduled versus actual time report. Click on that. Let's set our date range back a little bit so we have some more data to look at. And the scheduled versus actual time is for the job time clock entries. And you can get super detailed here. Maybe you want to look at all of the time that my technician, Dustin, clocked in the month of February. And there we go. Now I've isolated Dustin, and you can see a lot here. We can see the total appointment time, any other events, internal events that he went to, and the actual time. So we have the scheduled time here and the actual time here. So this is what my technician actually clocked. You can track en route time, which would be they're in the truck, they're going to start the time clock and drive out to the location. That would be the en route time. The at job time is the core time of them getting to the job and doing the work and then marking it as complete. And unaccounted time, if we hover over the I here, it will let us know. This represents time that a user is clocked into the global time clock, but not en route or checked into a job. So I clock in to start working for the day. That runs in the background. And then I dilly-dally around for a couple hours before, I start my first job. that will be counted as unaccounted time. Any time that you're clocked into the daily time clock, but not clocked in to a job. Cool. And so that is the scheduled versus actual time report. And then we have two more time clock reports that you can view. Let's go back to reporting. And we have under the users section, time clock and time clock total. And let's take a look at both. Time clock, this is just going to show you a very simple daily time clock entry. You see the date, you see clock in time, clock out time, and duration. There's no way to edit this. So for editing daily time clock entries, you would want to go to that More Applications time clock page. Um, but this shows a little more at a glance. It's more condensed. And if you're just trying to see clock in and clock out times and the totals, this is just a very simple page to go to. A lot of my customers will use this just to grab numbers for payroll. And then the time clock total allows you to dive in a little deeper, and you can search by date range, isolate by employee, or by dispatch group. So maybe I want to see all time for all of my technicians at a glance versus my office team, etc. The last topic we're going to talk about before we get into our Q&A is how to schedule internal events, which can come in handy. When you're on the schedule page, if I want to create an appointment, I can click New, and the customer appointment is what you're going to use to make appointments for your customers. But other event is for internal events. And there's a lot of ways to use this. Uh, a fun way to use this is you can actually add birthdays. So if you wanted to put everyone's birthday on the calendar, it will show up as an event. On that day, you'll see, oh, it's Caleb's birthday today. And, send him a nice message or something. But other use cases for this, maybe you want to set up a sales meeting every Monday for your, service department. And you can also set the frequency to be reoccurring. So if this was a sales meeting, type in the event name. You can add your own event types as well. So maybe I actually want it to say sales meeting. I was able to add that by clicking add new event type and just make your own custom events. So this is a sales meeting. We're going to talk about getting the money. So let's make it green. We're going to do this in the break room, and it's going to start on Monday. We're getting serious about sales. Frequency, we want to have this happen every week, every Monday. And then last event date, let's say we are planning to do this till the end of the year. And this is a morning meeting that we'll do at 8 a.m. Let's say from 8 to 9. And then for users, I know this is going to be a sales meeting for my field technicians, so we're going to select field techs. These are pulling from your dispatch groups. So whatever groups you have assigned for dispatch, you can pull in and save you some time there. But you can also select people individually. So maybe you have a team of 10, but only 5 of those people from that dispatch group you need. You can just come in and select them one by one. Enter a description. Now, these events will also show up on other users' accounts. So if I set this sales meeting, I will see that on my mobile app Monday morning, and it'll be part of my appointment list. And if you put description here, you can kind of prep your team or whoever's involved with what is going to happen and the expectations from here. Click schedule. And we said this was going to start on Monday. So let's go to the 9th. And there we go. We have our sales meeting set up. That was just one example. You can get very creative on how you use this. It's just a nice way to add items to your calendar without having to connect it to a customer. Okay, so there are some tips and tricks and best practices for the admin perspective of using WEX FSM, and we are going to shift to our Q&A now. But before we do that, I just want to say thank you guys so much for joining. My name is Mark with WEX Field Service Management, and this has been Daily Operations for Admin Users.